Hey everybody, CVH here, and today we're going to be playing some Midrange Assassin on the Legend ladder. The build is right here, and as you can see we're testing one pretty interesting card that I've seen in a few other styles of decks that I've always wanted to test in Midrange Assassin, so I'm going to take today's video and do a couple games doing just that. It's Elder Gleam Matron, which I just took out a copy of. Let me try that again. Alright, Elder Gleam Matron. Summon, put a random animal in your hand. So we're going to be trying to use this to gain some additional value against similar speed or even slower decks like Ram Scout or Control Mage. Yeah, it's not the most consistent card. It could just give you a prize chicken, as happened to me when I started testing it a bit yesterday on stream, but hopefully we can get some pretty powerful things, and just additional threats in general. When you compare it to a Cunning Ally, which you see in a lot of these versions, Cunning Ally is definitely strong, giving you that Firebolt, but a lot of random animals are way better than a Firebolt in a lot of situations, and the stats are pretty aggressive on this card as well. So we're using that, and I'm also playing a pretty hefty 14 prophecy count in this deck. Not a whole lot else to talk about. It's a pretty standard build outside of those things, and I've talked about this deck a lot before, and it's fairly straightforward. But let's take it to the ladder, play some games, hopefully take some wins, and maybe even get some cool Elder Gleam Matron value. And as always, if you enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, stay subscribed to the channel for more Legends content every day, follow my stream in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. He's excited to be here, and so are we. And we got a Scout. So we do have the late game to deal with Scout. It's about trying to pressure enough in the early game as well, and then obviously drawing the Atromancers and Tazcad. That would be ideal. But we have the Ring, the Goblin Skulk, and the Trader, and the Raw Curse because it just couldn't be a perfect hand. But it's alright. It's close enough for me. Ring Goblin Skulk is very good against Scout, getting those dead draws out of my deck before I can draw them. And Scout doesn't have a whole lot of answers to a turn 1 Goblin Skulk. Most non-blue classes don't. They have Shrieking Harpy, Firebolt, sometimes even Sorcerer's Negation. Maybe Execute, they're yellow as well, but Scout, not a whole lot to do. Murkwater, which is pretty much it. And fortunately for us, we drew a curse before we even started searching for them, so if he witches, we can bypass it.
Is someone out there?
I could still curse to keep my guy alive. I could just play the Black Sap Protector with the Ring this turn, but I kind of want to keep my rings in this matchup, if at all possible. This also puts more power on the board. But yeah, our late game is probably going to be pretty critical. Encano, Atromancers, and Tazcad in whatever amount we draw them. So if I can cheat any of them out a turn earlier, or maybe even multiple turns with Brotherhood Slayer, that would be ideal. Alright, so we have a free turn to develop.
Didn't see this coming, eh? The forest is my strength.
We do have a little bit of cause for concern though. The Midnight Snack means he's playing at least a couple prophecies. I don't know if that means he's playing those in addition to other prophecies like Fighter's Guild, so I will still try to play around both. It could just be the snacks though. Odds are still very low of hitting a prophecy against Ram Scout, compared to other decks at least, definitely compared to our deck with our 14 prophecies. I wouldn't put him on having more than 6, but it could definitely be a case. Not Thorn Histmage at 5 Magicka? I think our opponent might need some lessons in drawing well with Scout. I mean, the Drain Vitality is pretty good.
The waters of life.
So we're going to attack into that with 3-3 for 2 reasons. We don't want our 4-4 to be damaged in case of a Leaf Lurker, and we also want to deal the most damage possible this turn. And besides that, one could even make the case for ringing out a Cliff Racer. Let's see if we hit a Prophecy first. We don't, that's good. So I think I'm just going to play the Mystic Dragon here and save the burst in my hand for when I start losing the board, inevitably. But for example, if he had gotten a Prophecy Midnight Snack there, that would have been a pretty fine Cliff Racer to just take that trade. The unfortunate Nogleave. Well, Shearpoint Dragon does work on it. It is a creature effect, but it doesn't really do anything. Reduces it to a 5-5, which would still kill everything on my board, and I still have to trade 2 things. So I guess I just trade the Dragon and the Black Sap in, and the losing of the board commences, unfortunately. But we're still punching, and now we can use the Cliff Racer for that damage. And we're actually doing a really good job of pressuring. This is exactly how you want this to go. I mean, he's put up some little speed bumps, but we've had enough pressure on the board to not really be affected too much by them. And now, of course, the critical thing is whether or not we draw the late game, because that will be our way to either close out the game or dead draw a few 2-drops and then lose to his own late game, which is much more prominent than ours. Probably a Leaf Lurker turn.
The forest is my cloak.
Unfortunate. Fortunately, we still have just enough in our hand to answer these two things, because we search for that curse so we can go Sheer Point Curse and still punch for 4. Now, what do we want to do about placement? I think it just goes left. This is probably the last turn we can actually do so. I think the face damage is very important though. Means any combination of lightning bolts and cliff racers will kill him. Need 2 of them, that is. But this is going to trade with one of these. Not super relevant which one is going to get traded into. Obviously, the Sheer Point Dragon is slightly higher value in case we draw another dragon. It can get that extra reduction or another curse or something like that. But overall, not too relevant given the game state right now. Fair enough. Alright, there's a lightning bolt. So all we need is a bit more damage, and we've got him. So we're not forced out of the field lane yet, really. We can just go Harpy Queen.
I am the Queen Mother. Attend me.
And if the Queen Berenzia can attack face, obviously, we just have the bolt, and we can close right there. And the guard Harpy protects it from a single charge from his hand if he's playing a Giant Bat or a Viper or something. So with the Shackle, it should be safe in that lane.
The Hist provides.
For a second, I thought that was my own Tazcat, and I got really excited. Unfortunately, not the case. I guess we use the bolt on the Hist Mage and just start hitting a bit. Doesn't feel very good at all. Now, part of me wants to let him do both the trades, because if Tazcat has to trade, it breaks through and gives me another card with my rune. But part of me thinks he's going to have the Odoving. But I think I'm going to take that risk, and I'm just going to play this in the right.
The forest is my strength
And pass.
my courage.
Definitely an odd turn. But since he's at the magic number of 8, I really value this bolt face damage. I don't really see a reason to do it now. I can play bolt with another bolt or a cliff racer in a single turn if I draw them. Really hoping this trade has to happen. He might just ignore it and say the Hist Mage is blocking it. But that's disrespectful to a card like Leaf Lurker that I could draw. So it's a tough call for him too, depending on his hand. Clearly if I had a Leaf Lurker with 5 Magicka remaining, I would have just done that trade though, so he's worried about me top decking it.
Look to the skies.
Oh god, possibly the card I wanted to see the least. In combination with another card that I really didn't want to see here. Exciting stuff. Alright, the magic number is gone. And he did play a guard. I mean, the only dragon that wouldn't have been bad for me there is Spine of Elder's Blood. I can't bust through either guard while removing the lookout. If I remove the lookout, I lose the board, lose my reach from hand. And then I have to draw like 3 sources of damage. Basically limited to Atromancer and Ancano and Tazcat. Because Cliff Racer no longer really gets the job done. It's tough. We're not lightning bolting that. Doesn't make any sense for 2 damage. Lightning bolting this is just kind of wasteful as well. I mean, we could do that. He gets something back. Everything's gigantic. I'd rather him just never get that effect off, but I can't make that happen with this deck. So I guess I just bolt this. And before it translates in anymore. If it heals one more time, it negates the bolt's face damage anyway, so I might as well use it here and affect the board somewhat. It's going to be able to trade over that. If I play it there, he can just trade like that and still not give me a card. Still make that trade. So I guess I do put this over here. Play around Odoving a little bit. If he's going to get that trade anyway, I guess I'll just set up for Sheer Point Dragon in case he has Odoving in his hand or something. Just in case I can make Sheer Point kill that or a curse effect or something.
Look to the skies.
Well, there's the spy, and that's the least threatening of the dragons, but unfortunately, the woodland lookout's kinda giving me the D right now. Alright, well, let's see what he gets back. Get that 4 damage back, at least. Ooh, that's exciting. That's exactly what I wanted him to get back. Oh, yes. Definitely no Archie there. Oh, by the way, the 8/8s are here. In case you were wondering. They have finally decided to join the party. We had a window, and unfortunately we missed it. There's always that one turn where you need to have Atromancer against Scout. Or like an Atromancer task. It's like one turn where you need to have it. And if you don't have it and they have lookouts, you lose. Because then you can't really get past this kind of stuff. And, you know, Lookout's a card that always requires some level of, yeah, like, we technically had lethal, right? We had the 1 bolt. We have another bolt now. He was at 8. There was a time in which he was at 8. But, it's not looking good. Alright, so what are my odds? I have to Lightning Bolt my own face, draw Elder Gleam Matron, and find a Giant Snake. To live a turn. Alright, that's not gonna get it done. Gonna go ahead and slam Concede.
Khajiit is done for.
Oh, Ram Scout. Oh, man. Alright, another game in which we're lucky enough to get the Ring and the Skulk, and we even have a Slayer to follow it up, and a Firebolt in case he tries to play his own Skulk game. So I'm liking the hand against Archer. Just gonna go ahead and keep it.
Welcome, friend.
And Black Sap could be even better against an opposing Skulk. So a good draw to start things off.
The forest is my strength and my courage.
My quest for curses is conflicting with my quest to actually develop something on the board this turn, so hopefully this can work out if he doesn't have another Murkwater Witch. Looks like it is gonna work out.
Teach you to mess with me.
We lose our last ring charge here, but we do get the Slayer, which can sort of give us additional ring charges, right? So we might actually get to a place where we can play one of these 5-cost cards next turn. Because he can't just leave this board forever.
Ready for anything.
There are ill winds.
Ooh. I am just now realizing this is probably the Goblin Archer that Matt Oblivion used to hit #1 Legend with. So that's probably what we're up against. I played a lot of the, what is it, a lot of the Assassin version you might have seen. At least one video on the channel with it. Very similar decks. I enjoyed the Lightning Bolt capabilities, but this deck has a lot more movement, which can be interesting as well. So we can just go ahead and curse that down, trade into it, I guess with our Slayer, search for another curse to curse that down, and still have all of our Magicka left.
It's nothing personal.
Teach you to mess with me.
I think I'll just hold the contract. We do have some late game in this deck, and we don't really need to play Cliff Razor this turn. I'll just play another Skulk, I think. I have no idea how Goblins ever comes back from this kind of board state. I mean, when I was playing it, I needed my opponent down to like 8, and then double Lightning Bolt got there, but with this deck, I don't know if there's actually a way. And the second Skulk here could be pretty solid if we want a Leaf Lurk or something, which we might just do to that. Yeah. Or we could just trade with it, I don't know. It's fine.
Teach you to mess with me.
So that would be the last curse, but it's all we need.
The forest.
Showing the power of the Skulk package in conjunction with the Ring of Magicka. Man, this is like the things people hate highlight video. I didn't anticipate this when I started recording, but like game 1 we got the Ram Scout, and this game we're showing the power of the Ring and the Goblin Skulk package. It's like the top 3 complained about things: the Ring of Magicka, Goblin Skulk, Ram Scout. And of course an aggro deck against us. I love aggro myself, but I know Not everyone's favorite style of deck. I probably would have given cover to that there. Get a pretty solid trade if I won it. Could just go all face. But I mean, I might as well take that good trade, right? I think so.
It's nothing personal.
Duma, take
Teach
you!
you to mess with me.
Duma, take you!
Might have missed that attack order click slightly, but it's all good.
By the 8th, they will meet their
And since the odds are high that we kill him next turn, we can just burn the completed contracts here. Add 2 damage to the board. Whatever. Okay, so that does keep him alive. But it burns so much of his damage. Just sad to see. Just sad to see. Gonna put the Cliff Racer in the right because that could get buffed to 4 attack with the Murkwater Skirmisher. Kind of irrelevant because even if we lose the entire board, the deck cannot heal. And, well, it could heal. He could have gotten like a drain off of Elderglee Matron. Which we need to draw, man. I want to draw the Matrons and do some fun things. But then, of course, we'd have Atromancer in 2 turns.
Ifra stands with me.
Alrighty. I'm digging it. It's too bad he moved that over there, man. Alright. We're getting there. He's staying alive. Is he actually? Does he have a... He doesn't have a curse in that deck if he just uses Matt's version. Because then I can just tome up and kill. But even then, of course, we have a lot of reach. You get your opponent to 4, and if they don't have a card like the Woodland Lookout that we lost to in the first game, it's kind of unlikely you can lose from there. If you have a few turns to just draw into damage. I think Black Sap with the ring might actually be the keep over Daggerfall against Crusader. I don't know. We'll just play the value game and try to get these as prophecies. Hopefully I get a 2-drop though. Hey, a ring. Wow, the ring Skulk. The combination. CVH, how do you play Midrange Assassin? Well, first you get the Ring of Magicka, and then you combo it with the turn 1 Goblin Skulk. And then you just, I don't know, read the cards, drag them places. It gets easy after that part. Oh god, it's not even contested. Stop the madness. Sure, I'll ring again. Let's do it. No cooldown? Hell yeah, turn 2 Daggerfall. The value, guys. The value. Yeah, I think if you gave the ring a cooldown of 1, which I've mentioned a few times, you keep a 3-drop a lot less of the time. You actually have to have a good hand. I don't need a good hand, I can just play it all earlier.
Close ranks.
It's a good hand to me. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've seen a lot of sad things. Now, Mystic Dragon or Tome? I could play Harpy and save my ring charge, but screw that. I'm just gonna say it's Control Crusader because if it's not, I feel really bad for our opponent. Another dragon, which I don't really want to play here. I think I'm just gonna Tome. Get that clean trade going. It's a lot of curses, man.
There's always a plan.
It's too bad one of these isn't a completed contract. Actually, this one's higher value now because I can reward it up, so I'll attack with it first. Well, I should double curse that first, right? In case it gets a prophecy creature. So always that tiny chance of an Immolating Blast, right?
Of course I'm on your side.
Just doing this play because it puts more damage on the board than the Mystic Dragon plus no 2-drop play. That is slow. Wow. People always ask why Blood Dragon isn't considered overpowered in situations just like that. Like, yeah, it's a lot of stats, but it's kind of it.
Sheor take you.
Didn't see this coming, eh?
At this point, our opponent won't have the Magicka for Unstoppable, or we won't have the Magicka for Dawn's Wrath, but he would have the Magicka for Unstoppable Rage. So I'm very disappointed that he got a Prophecy Creature there. Like, yeah, I can play 2 Harpies and stop the attacks. I think that's the best I can do. I think it's important because he's probably going to play an Unstoppable Rage. And that means the other lane will not be affected, so I can Harpy here, Harpy here. He rages one of these, clears one of my lanes. Almost definitely this one because gets rid of more attack and he gets a 2-1 guard. But I still have 6 damage and that's pretty critical because then it's the magic number of 4 where Cliff Racer kills him, Bolt kills him, Atro kills him, even Encano kills him, Tazcat kills him. We made the right read. Unfortunately, that Prophecy Creature just made it a bit more annoying. But I'm feeling the whole get him to 6 plan, play 2 things in the right, or get him to 4 by attacking for 6. Not that one.
Just give me a name.
It has been an
Now the magic combo for Control Crusader is the Ravenous Hunger plus Rage for 9, because that can drain for a ton, but fortunately he's a little bit off of that, so Dawn's Wrath is the concern, and it's not even that concerning here. He will lose if he plays Dawn's Wrath on either lane.
I am sworn to protect you.
I wish I could play Atromancer next turn.
Behold my power.
But that said, well, let's see. We can triple trade into Lydia, because we kind of have to. We can also just kill that, but still have to get past the Lydia eventually, so I'm thinking triple trade into Lydia. Just kill these. How deep do we want to go to play? Because you could, like, triple trade into Lydia and then curse my own Mystic Dragon to kill it, so he can't. But, like, the thing about Ravenous Hunger Rage is that if he feels the need to heal, he can just do it to kill his own other guys and still drain. So I guess I do play stuff. Like, I should play a Dragon and a Ward Crafter. Get that over there, right? Yeah.
Careful, friend.
Has to be on that one. I don't care about this dying. In fact, I don't care about any of them dying. I just don't want him to heal this turn. Don't have Hunger Rage number 2, please. He thought he was dead to, like, Lightning Bolt, I guess. Unfortunately. But he did have to use that Rage quite early. Maybe he didn't have another one in his hand by now. We have no idea if he has Ravenous Hunger. You usually save that for the Rage, especially against the Curse deck. Especially against the Curse deck when you know they have a Curse in their hand. But it just gets immediate value with the Rage. I feel like it's a pretty snap Rage, if he has the Hunger Rage. Rage by itself is fine. Damn it. Bummer. Well, that's 2 rages down. Because he was thinking about maybe attacking first and then trying to get more drain value off Prophecy Creatures, but if he hit a Lightning Bolt, he'd just die, so he decided against it. Makes sense. I don't really think he can answer my dragon, though, so that's free damage. I will still curse the 4-1. That's a good draw, too, just more reach. Yeah, we're cursing the hell out of that.
I summon thee.
No 3rd rage for you, buddy. Unless you have a 2nd hunger and a 3rd rage, in which case, then successfully drawn better than even I have this game. I drew pretty damn well. That ring Skulk madness, man. can only be beat by the perfect number of unstoppable rages plus ravenous hungers. Now here Dawn's Wrath isn't quite as bad anymore, because he can also attack the 5-3. Just on time, man.
Let none defile our temple.
Looks like the 3-3 is sticking! Oh, another hunger. Alright, so 2, 5, 9, a million.
Hard-fought victory.
And that is how it's done, even with a pretty serious speed bump there.